Sunday night, but work never stops. First of all, Verge Ortiz versus McKinson, fight week. We can't wait at the Galen Center, live on the zone. It's going to be a great fight. Ryan Garcia, April 9th, his big return. Tickets are almost sold out in San Antonio. It's going to be a great fight. And Jaime Munguia versus Charlo. Look, listen, we want the fight, obviously. And Charlo's the champion. He gets the bigger cut. We all know that. That's common sense. Showtime, yes, you have the fight on Showtime pay-per-view, but I need the zone to participate. They built Jaime Munguia. That's only fair. It's business. More platforms, more pay-per-views, more money for the fighters. What's wrong with that? Sunday night.
This is why I hate fighter network exclusivity or whatever you want to call it. In the back of my mind, I kind of thought to myself, I said, yo, this fight ain't going to happen. You know, it's going to be some network bullshit. Now, if you don't know, Jermall Charlo and Jaime Munguia has been in some talks. The fight's supposed to take place in what I believe in their targeting or were targeting July on Showtime pay-per-view. Whether it's a pay-per-view fight or not, that's, you know, up for discussion. For later discussion. And now seems as though the holdup is that the zone, who, in all fairness, they have built up Jaime Munguia, and they don't want to let him go over to Showtime and, you know, not pretty much get like a taste. You see what I'm saying? So from my understanding, let me pull up this story here. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. The fight was supposed to take place on Showtime pay-per-view, but the zone was going to have rights in Mexico and let's just say other territories, but nothing here in the States. Now, a subscriber of the channel pointed out, Hassan, if you're watching, pointed out that, well, why can't, you know, Showtime have it on pay-per-view and then the zone get the rebroadcast rights for next week? I don't think it's a big enough fight for that. But overall, when you have fighters signed to networks, right, then that's what makes it so difficult. Or even if they're not signed, let's just say at the end of the day, a lot of these fighters be signed or aligned with certain networks. For example, we know that PBC fighters are aligned with Showtime and Fox. In this case, Jermall Charlo is aligned with Showtime at the moment. It's like Tank Davis is aligned with Showtime. So what that does is when you have a guy like Munguia, who's aligned with the zone, or a guy like Loma, who's aligned with ESPN, you see where that conflict is right there? Because the one network, or in this case, the broadcast of the zone, feels as though they put, you know, a lot into Munguia, and they're like, we're going to just let him go off. We want a piece of that. Now, Oscar De La Hoya seems to know, you know, what's going on, but at the same time, you know, his hands are kind of tied. Here, let me pull up this interview right here, or this article. You know, I got to be honest, like I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing the same shit over and over about like why fights aren't getting made. Like the shit is like bullshit. And in the case of Charlo, you know, he needs a significant fight. And right now, Munguia needs a significant fight because I'm fed up with his ass too. This is from Mike Copinger a couple of days ago, the 12th, as you can see right now. If you don't see, it is 1:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. March the 14th, excuse me. On the 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be streaming the Showtime Boxing schedule announcement virtual press conference. I say about every year or so, Showtime has a press conference where they like to announce their spring, summer fights, you know, and get people all hyped and built up about them. So they're having a virtual press conference for that on Tuesday, March the 15th at 1 p.m. We're going to be streaming that. But look, let's go skim through this article here from Mike Copinger. Charlo, who was aligned with Al Heyman's PBC, and Munguia, who was promoted by De La Hoya's Golden Boy, agreed to financial terms for each boxer, so it's said, but broadcast rights became a sticking point in an increasingly fractured sport. Showtime, one of PBC's two broadcasting partners along with Fox, was set to televise a 160-pound title fight on pay-per-view, sources said. However, Golden Boy insisted that its partner, DAZN, be involved with the stateside broadcast. How will they do that? I mean, let's face it. Jaime Munguia, Jermall Charlo versus Jaime Munguia, you know, a black fighter versus a Mexican fighter for a WBC title. Yes, it's going to create some buzz among boxing fans. But the overall casual appeal outside of Mexican fans, it's not really like a fight that's a two broadcaster, you know, fight. You see what I'm saying? And also Steven Espinoza pointed out, who runs Showtime Sports, pointed out that, like, you know, Showtime is willing to foot like the bill, like we're paying the bill, you know? PBC offered Golden Boy TV rights in Mexico and the UK where the zone is popular. However, Golden Boy officials didn't respond by noon Pacific deadline on Friday, a couple of days ago, to close the deal. The proposed deal included a rematch clause, of course, for Charlo, that guaranteed to Charlo the option to sort. Wait, the proposed deal included a rematch clause per sources that guaranteed Charlo the option to secure an immediate return bout if he lost. The zone would own the sole broadcast rights to Charlo Munguia too. If Munguia won, it would be on the zone. I mean, come on, man. And Charlo's the A side. I mean, you know, that network exclusivity, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. So looking at the 160-pound division as a whole, let me break it down for you real quick. Before we get up out of here, I don't want to be too long-winded with this video. You got Golovkin and Murata. That's taking place, what's that, April the 9th. I am not confident that Golovkin's going to win that fight, even though he is the favorite in my opinion, but just not confident. Murata did lose to Rob Brandt, just saying. Demetrius Andrade is fucking off the 168 pounds to fight Zach Parker. Now we have Xandra back, Alam Kanuli, who's been ordered to fight Danny Dignam for the WBO title. Why? Is because Munguia missed the deadline. I'm hoping that Charlo and Munguia can come to a deal because it's not fully dead yet. But it's looking like it's in some deep trouble and, you know, the network shit, you know? But also, is the zone going to pay for Munguia's next fight against another nobody? Now, if Munguia doesn't happen, then Charlo has to fight Carlos Adames. You know, but I smelled that coming from 1,000 paces. You see what I'm saying? In other news, which we're going to talk about in a different video, David Benavidez is taking on David Lemieux. It's going to be May the 21st. And from Boxing Scene's Jake Donovan, you are going to have Caleb Plant, Anthony Dirrell. Listen, boxing fans, we seen this shit coming. Caleb Plant, you know, taking two back-to-back tough fights, one losing to Canelo, then going right into Benavidez. I didn't see it. To be honest, I'm surprised he's fighting again this year at all. You know, I'm starting to like Caleb Plant like a whole lot, even though he did lose to Canelo. I've been really, really following his career the last several years. So, you know, the Anthony Dirrell fight is going to be like a tough fight for him. Put it this way, I'm going to already say it. I never really rated Caleb Plant that highly anyway. So that's why I like the Caleb Plant versus Anthony Dirrell fight, in my personal opinion. But overall, like, you know, boxing is getting real frustrated. But one thing we can say is that they are trying. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're seeing some movement between Charlo, Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, you know, and Jaime Munguia. They're definitely out there trying. So, you know, we got to give some credit where credit is due in such a fucked up sport. And if Caleb Plant does beat Anthony Dirrell and David Lemieux does, and David Benavidez does beat David Lemieux, you know, because that's who's supposed to win, Plant and David Benavidez. Then they fight sometime by the end of the year or so, November, December, hopefully. You know, they'll try to pay-per-view that, and then we get the winner of that. It's going to be the mandatory for Canelo for the WBC title at 168 if the WBC doesn't make Canelo the WBC franchise champion. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I am about 3 weeks from officially, finally launching my podcast. God is good. God is great. Thank you guys for the long-time supporters and viewers and subscribers. We're really, really making some moves the last couple of years. Things have been like really, really going good. I'm happy to be here. You know, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. We're going to be streaming and talking about this more in detail on actually in about 19 hours or so, you know, give or take. And also on Tuesday, February 15th, remember, we are going to be here streaming the virtual press conference for PBC and Showtime to announce their spring and fall boxing lineup. Once again, Thank you for watching. Please take your time out, like the video. Only takes a couple of seconds, and subscribe.